To the Republican bid to defund Obamacare, I want to read a pretty harsh column by Erickson about you, sir. I'm not going to read the title even, but it says, Coburn is willing to wage a holy war against wasteful pork barrel spending. But on Obamacare these days and other issues outside of government pork, Coburn toes the leadership line, held up as the reasonable conservative by leadership. On Mike Lee's defund strategy, Senator Coburn says it's impossible. I wish Tom Coburn would join the fight with Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Marco Rubio. Having spent so much time with Senate Republican leaders peddling can't instead of try, I give up hope he can change in the twilight of his Senate career. Your response, sir, to that?
Oh, you can't respond to the bloggers. I mean, one period in a 6-month I'm a hero, and the next time I'm not. And the fact is unless you agree with them 100% of the time, all the time, you don't pass muster. So you know, that's a blogger on Red State that I obviously can't please. I'm not sure how to best characterize. Nobody's ever put me in anybody's camp other than my own, and so what we're trying to do, nobody disagrees with the goal, they just disagree with the tactics.
But there certainly is criticism that your colleagues can't seem to find unity on issues.
Well, Mika, that's not true. I mean, you have 11 Republican senators out of 46. That means 35 don't agree with the strategy, so the press loves to say there's a division. Sure, there's 11 senators with some outside groups behind them to try to promote a strategy that, in my 65 years of life, think is a pregnant strategy that will deliver nothing other than pain and not be successful. And so, it's not that their motivations aren't good. Their motivations are right. I'd love to gut Obamacare because it's going to be terrible for the country in the long run. And it's going to be terrible for patients and doctors. It's going to be terrible for costs. But the fact is if you have a strategy, what you ought to do is build internally a support for that strategy and come to an agreement so that you have all the power of the Republicans working it, rather than have a small group of Republicans who then generate, through outside groups, pressure on other Republicans. My attitude, and Joe knows this, Mike Barnacle knows this, you start pushing me, all you do is get me to push back harder.
Oh, boy.
And so, I'm kind of like Mike. Mike said he'd been a father of a minor child for 50 years. I've been a minor child for 50 years. I'm just now getting mature. And the fact is I know what I believe, and I know why I believe it, and no outside group's going to push me around.